Hello. I just got back from the Cancer Society, and I cannot tell you how much of a relief it was not having to worry about getting pulled over. I had some very friendly drivers, and I really want to thank the American Cancer Society for paying for my Uber trip over to the chemotherapy, and the Winnie Palmer Cancer Center, and it's also a baby center. They paid for my ride home. So that really made a difference. If you haven't seen the video, I will try to link it somewhere, here, there, somewhere, while I'm editing and uploading the video. There was an incident that happened on my second chemotherapy, I believe it was, where I was pulled over. Yeah, apparently I'm not that good of a driver after I've had chemotherapy. Who would have figured that one? But that's no longer an issue I need to worry about. And I was able to leave and come home for chemotherapy. And this is the last one before my surgery. So that's a relief. And if you are able to, please make a donation to the American Cancer Society. They do provide life-saving services like that. You know, you might have an opportunity while you're checking out at the store when you make a purchase, or you may have an opportunity pop up on Facebook or wherever. Just remember American Cancer Society. Your donations make a difference. So I'm going to tell you about what happened today. It was not super eventful, but it was exciting knowing it was the last one before my surgery. So I had very good test results yesterday, and I'm very thirsty. This is not really ready yet, but I'm going to drink it anyway. Ew, definitely not ready. But they put all the medicines in there, and they were telling me what they were putting in there, and a lot of them were the things that make me feel good after chemotherapy. So I'm not running to the bathroom and yakking and feeling sick and everything. So that was nice. And did I remember all the stuff that the nurse was telling me? No. It was just the medicine that makes me feel good. And then she put the Ativan in there. Ativan's really important because Benadryl. I have chemo brain. This is why I shouldn't drive after having chemo. Okay, so one of them was Benadryl, which is important, and I do believe I had the ADHD reaction this time because it did not make me sleepy. It made me want to flip the channels back and forth on the TV, which I did a lot. And I'll get to that in a second. So then she gave me the Ativan. The Ativan made drowsy. It's important that I get Ativan after I have Benadryl because I have seizure disorder, and Benadryl's not a good mix with that. So Ativan counteracts it, and it keeps me from having seizures, and it makes me sleepy. So sorry. And I am a little bit bloated right now. So I heard somewhere that watching comedies is good for you when you're going through chemo. So I did find a comedy channel, and watched Futurama. That's always funny. And then it ended, and then South Park came on, and I have nothing against South Park. I would have watched it if it was just me all alone by myself. And I'm not really big on comedies normally, but we all could use them right now. But, I didn't know if there was going to be another patient on the other side that didn't appreciate this show. It is controversial, and I don't know the nurses would have appreciated it. So I have to think about other people. So that was the end of South Park. I just started on that thing, and it's loud. It's not a normal remote control because it also has a thing where you summon the nurse, which I did frequently because I had to go to the bathroom a lot. Or I lost stuff or whatever. Da 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 da. Nurse, 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 nurse. So I'm sure they really love that. And so uh, I ended up watching Bravo because if you can't have comedy to make you laugh, you can have trashy people to laugh at. That's my philosophy on life. If I'm supposed to be laughing, so I thought it was one of those Real Housewives shows, but I think it was like one of those things where they're at a beach and they're fighting over who gets to marry whom or something. And keep in mind I was doped up, so I could be completely recalling this incorrectly. So somebody was supposed to get married and somebody was crying because she was not allowed to be the maid of honor. And maybe that's not a trashy thing because I actually was a little angry about that, about an incident that happened about 30 years ago. So that's not completely irrational, I guess. And I think I was more angry that I didn't have time to go home and change for a party, which I ended up doing most of the work for. But when I say that I actually do know how to cook because that's feedback that I get from people. I'm not making that up. I was. They ended up asking me to do the cooking for my little sister's wedding, not wedding, the bridal shower. The wedding was catered, but I watch cooking shows when I'm bored, and so I had all these little things that I never got to experiment with before, like Hungarian dessert crepes and crap like that, But I was going to pull a prank on my mother. This is a long story that I don't really want to go into, but I was dressed kind of weird on the airplane, and it really backfired on me because I was on an airplane with a sports team on it. Everything about that backfired. And that's 30 years ago. So anyway, and my mother didn't get the joke. So the sports team did. That was a disastrous day. But anyway, today was interesting though. I mean, just like talking to Uber driver and talking to taxi driver, and I am the world's worst person with remembering names, and unfortunately, those guys are going to be, in my book, they're going to be Uber driver and taxi driver from my last chemo day. Uh, you're doing an amazing job making an impression on me if I remember your name. That's just something in me. I'm not good with names. I met Diane Ford one time at a comedy club, and I couldn't remember her name. She was headlining the event. Admittedly, I was extremely inebriated that day. And my best friend at the time was complaining about her boyfriend to her in the bathroom, and realized afterwards that that probably was going to end up in the act. So I didn't have the worst day that night. That I seem to end up in situations or near situations like that. So uh, I set out to read a book. I'm probably going to pay for that with the use of my fingers for a few weeks, because you're supposed to put ice on your hands when you go through chemo. So I might not have fingernails in a few weeks. And I wasn't really paying attention to that. That book was really good. I've been reading Octavia Butler's box set, and she wrote that before she passed away. She wrote that about 25 years ago, and it takes place today. And just some of the stuff in there is just mind-blowing. She talks about that people don't send their kids to public schools anymore, and just some of the behavior that takes place is amazing. So it's a good book. I bought it on Kindle, and it was like, I want to say $22 or something like that. So I'm really enjoying reading the book. I have other books that I bought on Kindle that I haven't read all the way through yet, because I have attention deficit disorder and hyperactive disorder. So that will happen with books. I will have a book that I have for a year that I haven't finished reading. So that's just how I roll. So I hope I don't fall asleep while I'm talking. So this is the last chemo, might be the last chemo, for any number of reasons, and maybe they'll get all of the cancer out, and then they'll say, I don't need to do it anymore, go ring the bell. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is I could pass away in a few weeks during surgery, and that is definitely hanging in my mind. The normal scenario is they will do the surgery, and then I have to finish up the next two chemo sessions. So we'll see how that goes. And what might happen is I have my surgery, and then I'm moved to the Netherlands. And what I was told is, because I am not working in the Netherlands yet, is they may put me in a cancer center, and my health care coverage, because I am not working there yet, would be health care for indigent people, which is like Medicaid here. So, except that it's not as bureaucratic as Medicaid, because everybody has health care in the Netherlands. And I would finish up my chemotherapy and then ring the bell over there, I guess. And then work on getting a job and paying my taxes. And they have a tiered tax system over there, depending on how much you pay. I mean, how much you get paid. And I've already started the process. I gave them the information to look up my mother's residency records. in the Netherlands so they can find the last place that she lived. And they thanked me for giving them that information. I told them where she was born, what day she died, and where she lived when we lived in the Netherlands, and where I lived. So that will be very important. I have some paperwork that I need to fill out with my social worker here. I get some assistance for rent and medical care, because right now I am still a U.S. citizen, and right now I need to deal with what's here and now. But I also want to get my Dutch stuff set up, because I don't plan to stay here. You know, eventually my lease will expire, and, you know, my job's not looking stable, to be honest. And I need to be prepared for that. And a lot of things are not looking stable. This is not, you know, there's nowhere in the Constitution that says that your employer owes you a job. And there's nowhere in the Constitution that says that if you were born to a legal resident of the United States that you're guaranteed citizenship. It's not in the Constitution or any of the amendments. It was a Supreme Court case, and we know what is going on in the Supreme Court. So they could overturn that case. And then it's based on my father's citizenship status. And, you know, then it's based on whether they feel like my parents' marriage was legal, and my parents were different races in 1959, and according to Loving versus Virginia, mixed race marriages were not legal at that time. So they could say that that was not a legal marriage, and that I'm illegitimate. My parents were married in a different state, but you know, there's all kinds of things that could that could come up and everything. And this is actually terrifying to me. You know, I've never been happy that I was not allowed to pursue my Dutch citizenship, but I've always taken it for granted that I have the right to complain, because I'm an American and we have freedom of speech. We have freedom to be angry about stuff like that. We have a lot of freedoms here, you know, that I've always taken for granted. You know, my family has been here since 1735. I have an ancestor that fought in Charleston, South Carolina, in the Revolutionary War. He didn't fight very long. He got taken prisoner, but he fought. You know, I'm a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. And, you know, so this stuff is going through my head, you know, that I may have to, once I get my surgery, continue my treatment overseas. And, you know, so I need to figure out how I will move my stuff, how I will continue my meals. I guess if I'm living in a cancer center, I guess my food will be through that. And it also means maybe I don't get to eat what I want. I have to eat what they serve, you know. So that's an issue, you know. And it's not that I'm always eating what I want. My food is kind of hospital quality food. It's stuff like meatballs and corned beef and cabbage. Sometimes I get brisket, which is yummy. I'd eat a stew. And then I've got, you know, for breakfast, I've got like cream of wheat and oatmeal. And then I've got Ensure. I've got like cases of Ensure. So is it really going to change? It's probably not any different than what they would serve. So, I don't know how my life is going to be any different. You know, I don't go outside. I look outside at the window at the big landscaped yard. That's probably what I would be doing in a cancer center. So, I'm nervous about the surgery coming up, and I am a little bit doped up, so I should probably sign off because I am talking and talking and talking and not really saying a lot. So, have a good night, and I will upload this tonight. This is my second um, video for the day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.